Welcome to another edition of NC Sports Weekly News. Top events on the agenda. Kitesurfing's best freestylers stop over in Marsala, Sicily for the PKRA World Championship. Top-seeded upsets at the Stena Sweden Match Cup. Kama and Coville take on the Tour de France à la Voile. 49er and 49er FX European Championships in Denmark. Plunge into the action with NC Sports. The world's top men and women kitesurfers met up in Marsala, Italy for the PKRA Freestyle World Cup. Scoring high with her best blind judges, KGBs and backmobes, Spain's Gisela Pulido pulled out her full repertoire to overcome Poland's powerhouse, Karolina Winkowska, for the tightest of margins, while Brazilian Bruneka Gia had to settle for third.
In the final, it was a really close heat. I won over Karolina for 0.12. And I'm super stoked because I was riding 13, which is not my kite, and super light wind, which I'm not used to riding these kind of conditions. And I'm just super happy and want to keep the same level the whole season.
After 4 days of superb tricks and 50 to 20 knot winds at the local Stagnone Lagoon, world number one Alex Pastor, also from Spain, and Danish Yurizun had to settle for a tie in first place in the men's division here in Sicily, as the wind dwindled, canceling the last of Sunday finals and freezing the scoreboard. Top performance also from Christophe Dack with a third place for Belgium, and now ranked fourth in the world.
And unfortunately we couldn't finish the final of the single elimination, and that basically puts Alex and me both on the first place in this event. I think this never happened before, so for everything has to be first time, right?
Yeah, 2.5 victories. That's not bad. I'm pretty stoked that I haven't lost the heat yet, so that's pretty cool. And it gives me a bit more confidence on the next event. I feel like I can definitely win it, so I'm gonna go to that one feeling good.
One big applause for these four ladies!
Bjorn Hansen and the E-Work sailing team come from behind to win the Stena Match Cup Sweden for the third time in a heart-stopping final against Phil Robertson and the Kiwis of Waka Racing. Thousands of spectators dotted the Marstrand coastline to catch the show as 10 to 12 knot breezes swept the course for the last 5 races of the event. Waka did the haka, taking flights 1 and 2 thanks to good starts and forcing the penalties, yet the local Swedes kept their cool and returned the favor in the next races for 3 straight wins of their own.
I think we felt both the 2 first matches that we had a little bit of edge in the maneuvers, but I managed to put ourselves in a couple of bad situations, taking some penalties and doing some bad starts and so on. So we were still quite confident going into the third race and said that, look at the cliffs, this is what we want. We want to sail 5 matches here. So we managed to get it to a final one, and that was a really tough one.
Every race we won was breathing down our neck the whole time, and you just got to stay focused on doing the little things right and making sure you're protecting the side you're favouring. And my team did a great job as well. We've sailed really well all week, really consistent. We've probably put the most points on the board all week.
Italy's new rising star, Roberto Ferrarese, had a huge week in Sweden, winning 7 of 9 races to close the round robins in first place, only to fall to Hansen in the semi-final. The Azzurri grabbed a 3rd overall thanks to their petit finale victory against Keith Swinton's team, also from New Zealand. This Sweden stopover was clearly an upset for the top-seeded at the Alpari World Match Racing Tour, with Ian Williams, Adam Minoprio, and Mathieu Richard ousted from the semi- and quarter-final action here in Marstrand. Still in the lead overall, they'll need to also watch out for Hansen, Robertson, and Team US1 with Taylor Canfield, now dangerously closing the points gap. With the Chicago Match Cup just days away, the quest for the 2013 world title is now an open game. French sailing superstar Franck Amat en Groupama is already on top of the scoreboard after just 3 of the 11 legs in the 36th edition of the Tour de France à la Voile. Amat is now followed by Nicolas Troussel on Bretagne Credit and Team Oman Sails led by Cédric Pouligny.
I love the confrontation in high-level regattas. If we want to do crude races in France, the Tour has no equals. Plus, it's a super interesting format with technical and offshore trials. So we have all the ingredients of our profession, and I like that.
The Tour upped the ante this year, bringing another French legend to the fray with Thomas Coville en Sodebo currently in 4th place overall. So plenty of fireworks are expected in the coming weeks.
The confrontation for me has always been on the boat, but it's also about exposing yourself and being here to measure up at the highest level in France for offshore racing. That's what the Tour de France à la Voile is about. It's both a cesspool and the peak offshore event in the country. You have to come if you want to stay at the very top levels.
Lasting throughout the month of July, much like its cycling counterpart, this is a world-renowned classic race, attracting both the top pros and the most audacious amateurs of this powerful sailing nation. 12 teams face off over the 1,200 nautical miles starting off from Dunkirk southbound along France's Atlantic coast, to then hop into the Mediterranean eastward to the final stretch for Marseille. 3 separate scorecards are kept for offshore and inshore races, as well as a special ranking for the non-pros. One design class for the Tour is the M34, nearly 3 meters wide at the beam and just over 10 in length overall. With 2.7 tons of displacement, this small but powerful racer can pack up to 170 square meters in downwind sail surface and is crewed by a minimum of 5 to a maximum of 9 sailors. Stay tuned to NC Sports for all the highlights, the interviews, and the results from the Tour de France à la Voile 2013. The very best in the discipline gathered in Aarhus, Denmark for the 2013 SAP 49er and 49er FX European Championships. In the men's division, Kiwis Peter Berlin and Blair Tuke managed to take the first place in a tight battle with Dylan Fletcher and Alain Sign, in spite of a medal race capsize. While third place honors went to French duo Dortoli and Delpech. Certainly an upset for Germany's Highland Klosel, who dominated the qualifiers, yet lost their pace in the final rounds. In the 49er FX, the exciting new high-performance Olympic class skiff for ladies, local Danish powerhouse duo Ida Marie Bad Nielsen and Marie Thusgaard Olsen hung on to the lead and take the gold thanks to 3 firsts and a second place in the qualifying rounds to access the medal races with plenty of advantage to contain the top-seeded. Martine Solfiati Graal and Katina Larsen Kunze of Brazil took the silver medal here in Aarhus in spite of their 7 podium placements, while the Kiwis Alexandra Maloney and Molly Meach settled for bronze. Now in its very first year of racing and with all eyes set on Rio 2016, the 49er FX class is quickly closing the gender gap with spectacular results and high-end competition. As we close this weekly news edition, NC Sports is closely following America's Cup events in San Francisco. As anticipated, actual match racing did not take place last Sunday on the first calendar race of the Louis Vuitton Cup Challenger Series. Following the recent protests handed to the ISF international jury, both ETNZ and the Italians are strongly contesting 2 of the 37 recommendations put forth by the America's Cup race management. While the Kiwis did show up on the start line, the Azzurri forfeited on principle, claiming they awaited the final decision of the jury on the delicate foiling system issue. The impact of this final decision, the ripple effects, and the very future of this still most uncertain AC-34. It's all here on the next edition of Top Story. NC Sports. Plunge into the action.